This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I'm not sure if being stuck at a haunted amusement park would be better or worse. Everybody Rides the Carousel is an animated educational movie from 1976 directed by John Hubley, which takes a look at the 8 stages of life, a social theory proposed and developed in the late 1950s that categorizes a person's personal and social development into 8 different categories. From infancy, marked by trust versus mistrust, to childhood and its conflicts of initiative and guilt, and even into young adulthood defined by a search for identity and the obstacles of role confusion. The movie makes this interesting by presenting these stages of life as a carousel, with each stage a separate seat for riders to take when they're ready to move on to the next. With its focus on education and detailing the various life stages, there isn't an ongoing story at all outside of the framing device that introduces the metaphor. It feels like a missed opportunity, since even a loose narrative of a person's life from birth to seniority seems like an obvious path to follow. But in hindsight, I imagine that this approach would have distracted from the greater idea of the film and the more universal ideas being presented. What we get is still engaging, with each of the stages presented as slices of life, literally illustrating the psychological concepts as they manifest within the various characters and whatever they do. The fact that these stories are disconnected does become a strength in these examples, as it lets us focus on the underlying ideas instead. It's also strengthened further by the actual portrayal of these life events in a very natural manner, almost like a documentary. There's no indication of how the movie was produced, so I wouldn't know what they did, but if they aren't just outright field recordings, then they must have put a lot of work into getting toddlers to make the right noises. Anyways, that much of the movie is only half of its immediate appeal. The rest comes in the animation, which is very unique even to this day. It's relatively simple in its makeup, seemingly watercolor paintings, but I wouldn't know for sure. More impressively, it's used in various complexities, from sparsely decorated shots that forego a background in favor of focusing on the characters, to more detailed scenes with larger settings and numerous figures. Being animated, the movie uses the opportunity to present the topics of discussion through creative and sometimes abstract means, whether it be the psychological concepts working against each other as manifestations of a person's conscious, or more expressively, such as self-doubt that looks inward from a person's face while they put on a literal mask, or symbolic, such as sunflowers and fish as representations of propagation and stagnation, respectively. It may sound weird to say it like that, but it works out in context. Really though, it's not as easy to talk about this movie because of how much it's not like a movie. It's more of an after-school special, really, but it's at least got more going for it than simply delivering information. It's the kind of edutainment that works, at least for me, presenting information in a clear manner while still offering more for an audience than simply relaying facts or theory alone. Everybody Rides the Carousel. John Hubley, 1976. 4 stars. I recommend giving it a watch. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. In the meantime, I'm gonna reconsider a few things. Based on this movie, I'm a bit behind where I should have been in life back in the 1970s.